Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us here. KW Princeton. It's May 20th, 2021, Agent Masterminds. We're going to be talking about listings today. And the first thing we wanted to do was to share with you some information we have on Connect. A long-standing course that we have is Win with Sellers, and we're on that page here now. So if you go here on Connect, you can search under KW University under resources, or just type in Win with Sellers. And what I want to share with you is just all the information and resources that's in here. The student files are here. You can download the manual itself to get that information. Also, any videos or e-learning is in here as well. And a really great video to share on that subject here with Jackie Ellis, Insights to Win with Sellers with Jackie Ellis. And also, you can find this one, Connect, Insights to Win with Sellers with Jackie Ellis. And I'll put these in the chat box on the side just so we have it for reference. Others in Command itself, important for listings, is the new listing presentation and designs. And you can actually get to this page here. This is on answers.kw.com. And it actually goes through and walks you through how to take the listing templates that they have in Command and designs and customize them for your own business. There's step-by-step instructions in here. And of course, we have Chris Norton on Tuesdays and Fridays with the Tech-Enabled Agent. You can pop in with Chris. He can help you walk through this as well. But it's pretty straightforward. It's just a lot of plug and play. It may take a little bit to get used to the design software, but it works the same as a lot of others. So it's relatively intuitive. Something else which is new, and I think good for keeping in touch with your sphere and for listings, is a quarterly personally branded magazine. So this is also in Command and Designs, and we're looking at answers.kw.com, this article. It takes you step by step how to go through and to create that digital magazine that you can then share with your sphere. So this is a great way to personalize a monthly newsletter that can be automated and send out to your sphere. So all great stuff for listings, both learning-based and technology-based. And when you're ready for the next level, I definitely recommend the group, the Mega Listing Agent. This is through MAPS Coaching. This is an overview of the course, Mega Listing Agent. It's 12 sessions. It's a group setting, and it's with these two ladies, Emily Baker and Alexis Wygand. So relatively well-known in KW. MAPS coaches, top listing agents, and so this is their course. If you're interested in hearing more from these ladies or like to learn more about it, we may be able to, I should be able to get them to come to the office. We might be able to set that up. But again, when you're ready for the next level, once you've completed Win with Sellers and Insights to Win with Jackie Ellis, when you're taking as many listings as you can and you still want more, then I would recommend the Mega Listing Agent. So with that, I'm going to just stop the screen share. And I just want to bounce over to, we have with us here today, Bob Lopez and Laurie O'Neill. Just wanted to kick it off. What do you guys see that's working out there? What's working well for you, either in your lead generation for listings or managing the listings you have, or anything you think is relevant that the audience would benefit from?
Bob, I'll let you go first.
That's easy, huh? Just let me go first, huh? Well, I have to tell you, it's a very interesting time as far as I'm concerned with whatever experience I have. That's all I'm coming from. And what I've felt is that I don't really have enough time to gather everything that it seems to me is so easy to gather. I think that when it comes to listings, as I didn't do it, but I had a month ago, I think I had 25, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I had 25 or 28 listings. I only have 2 now, because that's what's happening in the market. I think all of us, but from my friend Lovis, what works better than I think than it's worked before is we know that inventory is low, and we know that it's difficult to find sellers, but I've noticed in the communities I work with that the listing that I took, as soon as it went under contract, I had 4 or 5 neighbors within 3 or 4 blocks put their home up for sale. Now, they didn't come to me because, of course, I used to do what worked. I used to say, I used to send those postcards saying under contract. But of course, because it worked, I stopped doing it, right? So that's what more and more people should be doing out there, I believe. Okay. I also came across something that I just tested, but this came from a guy in North Carolina who he went out and he gathered all of the for sale by owners that he had on record, all of the expireds for the last 6 years that didn't come back on the market. And he started sending out 500 letters a week from, he owns a Keller Williams brokerage in North Carolina, 500 letters a week. And he's been getting 5 to 7 new listings a week. I'm not sure we shouldn't be doing something like that.
So Bob, to your point, you know, you were talking about 2 months ago having 25 listings and right now having 2. The challenge that I have is because of the market and because inventory is just being swept away, you don't have the time to capitalize on that listing to do the lead generation that you should be doing, right? So you put it in coming soon because you're trying to draw the traffic. You're trying to cram everybody through an open house because you don't want your seller experiencing the wear and tear of, 100 showings when you've had 150 people through a 2-day open house extravaganza, so to speak. So you're trying to look out for your seller, but you almost have to, as soon as you have those stats where 100 people came through an open house, there's interest in your neighborhood, you almost have to just that night send out the mailers to the surrounding neighbors. And you have to be outside almost talking to the neighbors, while you're trying to manage an open house, so that you can manage them to say, look at all the traffic that's coming in, look at all of the interest that's in the neighborhood. Here's the feedback we're getting. Do you know anybody that's selling? It just seems like you just don't have the time to really capitalize on each of your listings, because they are going so quickly.
Yeah, I agree. But so now I'm just speaking off the top. One agent to another agent, okay? Because our industry kind of tells us that. I mean, there's no doubt that we don't have enough time. So we all know as listing agents, the key to listings is listings make babies. We don't even have time to do anything to create a baby, right? It's up there. We got people knocking on the door as we're dropping the sign back. It's as crazy it was in 2005. Understood, okay? But then we lose that listing in the form of it goes under contract, and I wasn't. And I'm just gathering, because what I am monitoring is I'm noticing a lot of the new listings coming into certain communities are not being taken by the agents who had the 3 or 4 listings before they went on a contract, which tells me one of 2 things. It either is those productive agents in West Windsor, in Hamilton, in wherever we are, okay, are not getting to knock on those doors to say, are you thinking about selling? Or those sellers are just going to their close friends anyhow. We weren't going to get it. I'd rather believe that the problem is that we, with the ones who established the listings first before the market went crazy, we didn't find the time to go back out and end up finding new sellers. But now I'm reminded of the Marines, right? Which is one of smooth is good. Smooth is slow. Slow is good. It's time, I think, for me, and sharing with you what you think about this, Laurie, is we'll take a deep breath. The fact is that, am I making a mistake? Last month, I had 7 listings in Ewing. I all sold them. In the last 2 weeks, in an area all right off of New Jersey College, in the last 2 weeks, I see 4 new listings come up in the area that I sold these other 7. None of them from me, of course not, because I didn't send a letter out. But something tells me to send notification now after the fact of our listings will still put us in a better position, only because you and I sold the house. So it's not the market's great, as I'm sure you do, Laurie, right? You've been getting letters in your mailbox from agents asking you about selling your home. Okay. And all of it is, oh, the market's great. Have you been thinking of selling it? Well, the only advantage that you and I have is, well, I can say the market is great. Everybody's out there willing to buy. And let me tell you why. I just sold 5 listings in the last 4 weeks in your community, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I think we just have to throw it out there now, because if we wait any longer, it's not going to get any better.
No, well, I mean, I think there are things that we need to capitalize on. That sign in the yard with your name on it, that has to be used as a communication vehicle. It has to go to, we have to be able to publish, under contract, multiple offers, things like that. And even though something's under contract, one of the notes that I hand wrote out was such and such property in your neighborhood is under contract. The open house was booming with potential buyers for your neighborhood. Are you interested in selling? So I farmed that neighborhood. Now I haven't gotten a response back yet. It's a little tentative about knocking on the door, but one of the things I did do was, two things. It was challenging to try and make connections with buyers. With all the people that came in through the door, I was able to really ascertain one buyer from it. I should have been able to do more, but because you don't have the time to spend with them. And the other thing is that a lot of those buyers are coming in with their agents, because that's the only time they're going to see the house with their agent. So that's off the plate. And then the free time I had, I was outside trying to talk to the neighbors, because the neighbors would come over. Oh my gosh, you're so busy. Yes. Do you know anybody selling? I've had over 75 people in the property. So I am trying to take advantage of it. The face-to-face, the personal contact as the first choice. The second choice is the sign in the front lawn. I don't want to pull it. I want to be able to use it as a communication tool. And then the third was personal cards that I set out in farming that area. So those are some tactics that I can offer to somebody.
I think so many people today don't even want the sign on their lawn, because they say that, it's going to sell quickly. And that was something that's been going by the wayside with some of these.
Yeah, Mike, I did have a client say, you got to pull the sign. I can't take the people driving by. So, I mean, but it didn't preclude anything, because if it's out there in the public on Trulia, Zillow, etc., the address is there, they're still going to drive by. They're just slower. They're just slower now because the sign's not there to identify the house. And they're going, is this the house? Is this the house?
Right. So once you think that the situation where it's so many and it's so fluid and you're not able to catch up, what do you feel is going to happen? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but like, how do you foresee that next steps for an agent? What should they prepare to do?
Well, you have very limited, you only have you have a smaller window of time to capitalize on that listing. So you better be prepared. If you're doing a listing, then while you're doing the listing and getting all of your marketing materials together for the listing, you better be at the same time getting your marketing materials together to send out, as far as generating leads off of that listing. Whether it be preparing the Facebook ad, whether it be your handwritten notes, whether it be printed postcards, door hangers, I don't know, whatever you're doing, whatever people choose to do, for that.
Did you, so a lot of times you're saying that an agent might not send out all that stuff because the house sells in 24 hours, 48
Right.
hours.
And they don't have the time because they think, oh, I have time. It'll be on the market for 2 weeks and then we'll gently go into attorney review, et cetera. You do not have that time right now.
Right.
So in addition to now, instead of, oh, okay, I got the house listed. Oh, let me just do an open house. It's usually the week after. You don't have that window of opportunity. You have to front load that planning and preparation all up front before that house goes to market.
So Laurie, quick question. Are you doing you saying prep that, so are you just doing like coming soons to get yourself to be able to prep as opposed to
have
going
to.
live right away?
Yeah, I've had to, Lopez, and here's why, because my client, I've had this conversation of, do you want numerous people in and out by 15-minute appointments? Are you able to vacate for a weekend for me to do that? Or what I can do is I can do a 2-day open house extravaganza, which is one of the examples that I did. And I had the hours 1 to 4, bring your agent or come on your own. And I limited the number of private appointments to the window of opportunity that the seller would give me. Everybody else had to come through the open house. I hired an assistant at the door with a table. Everybody had to sign in. Everybody got the paperwork from her. I got all the COVID things. I made sure they had their masks on. And if they needed boobies, oh my God, booties or remove your shoes. So she took care of all of that while I was able to show those individuals who were not accompanied by an agent around the house, answer any questions, and try and connect with them, because that's my lead generation time. Anytime I had a break, I went outside because the neighbors kept walking their dogs back and forth. So I walked out to see the dogs. Are they friendly? Who are you? Hey, here's my card. Yeah. Oh, you've been busy. Yes, it's been busy. Do you know anybody else selling? Like, that was my opportunity as I took my mask off to take a break, only to put my mask back on and go back in the house. You know, I was able to leave when there were agents there, but when there weren't agents there, I had to go in and accompany those guests in the house. So I tried to manage it that way. And then immediately after I knew it was under contract, I dumped the mailers into the mail. Hey, you know, house is now under contract. Do you know anybody else selling? There was a huge demand for your neighborhood. Please call me for a consultation.
Do you guys have a cutoff, like, for how many offers you're accepting? Because I put an offer in on a property a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, I don't know, 30, 40 offers. And like, where do you, because that's overwhelming for a seller to have to then sift through all that. So where do you say after a certain number? I mean, I don't know if that's ethical or legal to do that, but we're going to cut it off here and just go from there.
Well, it's the seller's choice to make a decision, you know, when they don't have to accept any more offers, they can call that. But what we do is we just say, why, you know, since we're getting numerous offers in, why don't we call it best and final by a certain date and time? And then put all those offers together. And I put a spreadsheet together with all of the details of what each contract was offering so that my client could make the best decision. And I also put what they would net depending on what the offer was. Here's what you can expect to net based on this offer. So that helped with a visual of what offer they were going to receive or accept, I should say. You know, and you try and do that with the best interest of, you can't discriminate with funds. So I didn't put down the source of funding, whether it be conventional or FHA or anything like that, or VA. I just put percentage down and did it that way.
That's great. There was, so it just took a bit more creativity on your side to, especially with the multiple offers. You know, I've heard some people make the spreadsheets. I mean, like what are you utilizing, Bob, to help your clients?
I'm not as good as Laurie, but my clients is the last one I had 4 weeks ago was when I put the house up for sale. Within 24 hours, I had an offer, and I then put in notification and an agent's comments online that all final offers were due by 3 days down the road at 5 o'clock, and no offers will be accepted after that. Okay, make sure that I confirm I received the offer, because I don't accept excuses that the dog ate your thing or I didn't get it. Either I got it or I didn't get it, right? And the offer that we received, all the offers we received, there were 26 of them, and 3 of them were $25,000 to $45,000 over asking. So there wasn't very much for me to do other than, honestly, is the seller wanted to go with the highest offer. Everything else was relatively equal. And I said, that's fine. I guess I would do the same thing. But here's the expectation. I'm not sure I'm going to hit the appraisal.
Right.
So on that basis, as long as you understand that, we go from there. And that's kind of how I dealt with it. and it's happened before. That was an exaggeration. And the other ones with some multiple offers, they were all within my asking price. And I don't really think that I was that bad on the one that went over. I just think that those particular buyers were nuts. And they just took it higher than it should have been.
So
Did
when
it
you're
appraise?
asking,
Oh, sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, when you're getting into, are you seeing them appraising?
Well, as funny as may is that every single, at this point now, I have no idea how, because I don't like buyers, that I had 5 sales based on buyers in the last 2 months, and all of them went over asking, and all of them I met appraisal, which surprised me. Okay. On my seller side, every single one met appraisal, including the one that was $40,000 over. No
Wow.
idea how that happened. It made it almost seem as if I was so far off with my price, except that there were 3 other homes in that community that were within $5,000 to $10,000 of my price, and in fact were under me. Because I tend to push the envelope of the market like this. If my numbers say that it's worth 200, I say I'm going to 215, 218. Let's see if we can go a little higher. I don't pull it. I don't push it down on a market that wants to run amok like this. So I'm not smart enough to figure it out. That's the great thing about being around from 2005. I learned after 2005 and 2006, I had no idea how these things got worked out. Okay, but I'll let the market take care of it, and that's how I approach this. My biggest frustration in dealing with Laurie and what we were talking about earlier is not anything I get is going to sell. Okay, it's really how I get more. Okay, anything that sell is going to please my seller. So what's the problem? It's not hard for me. It's not like there are a bunch of other alternatives out there. If you made the decision to use me or to use this agent to be your lister, all they have to do is put the sign out there, put it in the MLS. You're gonna get offers. Okay.
Yeah.
Unless that agent is stupid, which can't be fixed, and the seller deserves it. But that doesn't happen to KW Princeton. All our listing agents are tremendously intelligent, so we don't have that problem. It's how you move. And I will share. We had a low inventory as a problem before COVID, and we're going to have low inventory after COVID. And even though our governor wants to wait until the absolute final moment before he lets everybody get to normal, we're pretty close to that. And when that happens, we still have the same problem that Laurie and I are talking about. Low inventory, buyers with low interest rates, what do we do? And that's why, in one sense, it reminded me of I look back for whatever it's worth. I think it was 2011. That was right, Laura, remind me. So 2005 and 2006, things went crazy. Then at the end of 2006, things started to go bad. And then it started to go bad. And every year thereafter, the market seemed to go down. And it seemed that for some communities, that went on as long as 2013, 2014, before you started to see them pushing their head up. Would you agree with that, Laurie?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the market tanked in 2008, and then there was just a very small, slow crawl, and then we started to see a little bit more impetus 2011, 12, and just incremental increases back up.
There you go.
And then all of a sudden now, last year to this year, it's a surge. I track my numbers, and the majority of what I do track is in Hunterdon County, and I'm starting to see a slowdown on listings. And I'm starting to see a slowdown on closings too, for the month of May, ironically.
So here's the funny part, right? For me, 2011 was one. So that's the point that the market started to move, but we still had a problem. And since reality is perception in our business, okay, the perception out there is that the market was dead. Buyers had problems of wondering if they should buy, because every time their friends bought, the value of the price tumbled down. We have sellers whose perception was that, why would I put my house up for sale? Because they keep on offering less and less and less. I might as well just stay where I am. So we had that tug going back and forth. And 2011 ended up to be one of my best years. Now I zoom in, look at my numbers, and we go through this terrible thing called, and I know this has happened to most, of 2020 with COVID, and 2020 was one of my best years. Okay. And the only reason, besides market fluctuation, which is what I would share, we all have to do here, is because I didn't stop planting seeds when everybody told me it's the end of the damn
Right,
world.
right.
I don't know how to stop the inventory, but I'll tell you what I just did 3-4 weeks ago. Not because of what we just spoke, Laurie. I went out and said, I forgot about it. I went out and sent a personal note to all of my clients saying, I need your help. If your friends have anything that they want to sell, because as a market, then unequivocally they want to sell, could you please introduce me to them? Okay. And my last 4 listings came from that letter. Okay.
Yeah, no, it works. It works.
Done, Petra.
That was, yeah, that was really insightful. Thank you. I'm sure that will help a lot of the agents that are going to listen on the recording. We don't have a lot. We can hope that they will listen on the recording and get some tidbits. I'm not sure what happened to Laurie. But yeah, I mean, it's a confusing time, and I know a lot of people are successful. So I was wondering, like, the quintessential breakup of like, oh, it's the winter season, oh, it's the spring market, is probably not going to hold true, right?
I don't think it's going to hold true, but and I'm just reminded of we're an industry who loves statistics, but we forget, in my opinion, we forget many times statistics can be fluctuated and manipulated to make it look better than it really is, or worse than it really is.
Right.
Anybody who's been part of this market since 2005, where in turn our valleys have been deeper and are high, and the mountaintops have extended higher, is that homes are sold every single day of every year. Are you going to participate in those homes being sold? While the numbers may vary, homes are being sold. Okay.
Right.
You either going to be one of the listing agents or one of the agents with a buyer to participate in the market, or you're going to stop waiting for the proverbial, I'll wait until everything changes. That's the mistake. Right.
Right.
That's the mistake that we, as relatively, I don't like the word because it's not me, but those who think relatively successful agents always have control. We don't have control. Okay. What we do realize is that we can't stop taking a step forward. We have to always keep on doing something. We have to always reach out to ask people, do you want to buy? Do you want to sell? Do you want to invest? And if we can't do it by the door, then we have to do it with a postcard. If we can't do it by the postcard, we have to do it with friends and whatever other ways that the young people like Lopez. I mean, I don't know Facebook. I mean, I'm lucky. All I know about Facebook is I finally realized how to spell it. Okay. Other than that, I don't use that for anything, but I know it works for a lot of people. So whatever it is, we got to use as many platforms as possible to let people remind them that I'm still in the business and I could help. Okay. I could help you buy. I could help you sell. I could help you invest. I could help you. And if we keep on doing that, we'll make a fair amount of sales.
Yeah, I hear you saying that
market gets normal.
Your toolbox has to be full of all these different things. That's what I hear you saying. And that if you don't, you can't play the victim and say, oh, just nobody's doing whatever. Nobody's buying, nobody's selling, nobody's whatever the market brings.
And I did this in a class with Lopez from a mentor that I had many, many years ago, and I visualized it, and I would say to us all as agents, okay, our form of lead generation, and I know Gary Keller said this, I didn't hear it first from him, it was from someone else, but he has said it too, is that you need to look at your lead generation like a wheel, and on that wheel it is flooded with spokes, and those spokes have to be filled with methods of reaching out to people. And if you have a normal spoke that you're going to, a wheel, you're going to have somewhere in the area of 10 to 14 spokes. And if you only have one method, one is a dangerous number in any business that you're in. That one dries, you starve. So you always need more than one for sure. And the more that you can have and participate in doing something with, the better served you're going to be, regardless of what market we're in my opinion. That's when I've been
It's
most
excellent.
successful. And when I've not done it, since I've gone up and down in my whole career of being great and being lousy, being great and being lousy, okay? That's just stupid planning on my part. Every time I'm lousy is I forgot to get back to the spokes on my wheel. And every time I've been great is I started using more of the spokes on the wheel.
Thank you. That's so, it's just so valuable to hear. And yeah, I hope people take it to heart and really, we have all the tools. They just, like you said, you just got to use them. Like when you're not using them, that's what happens, right? And it's a daily habit for that success.
I have a question, Bob. It's love, it's the love. So for like when you when
I
you're
can
doing,
see, you know, I can see.
I know. I can see. So we just took Bold Local and it was really good. One thing they talked about, which I have never done. I mean, I haven't had a ton of listings. I'm usually more buyers, but you know, trying to inch myself over there. They were talking about pre-qualifying, like they gave us like a whole pre-qualifying script prior to us doing the presentation, you know, with all these questions and what have you. Do you do that, or do you like, what is your format before you go to the actual presentation?
For pre-qualified for sellers and buyers, or which one are we referring to?
The seller.
For seller. Okay. Yeah. So here's the way I look at it. I just had this the other day, and Wendy's not here. Oh, well, my son would know it because he's gotten it. I get complaints. I get a number of complaints, okay, from people who I talk to. As you well know, Lovis, sometimes my speech pattern is that I come across as very arrogant, and my arrogance is because I have impatience. My greatest impatience is people thinking that their time is worth more than my time. I think your time is equally worth what my time is. Okay, both. All right. I will show you respect. You need to show me respect. Okay. So I have sellers who call me on the telephone, and I'm thinking about selling. This happened just last week. I'm thinking about selling my home, and I said, that's fantastic, blah, blah, blah. So yes, the answer is I do qualify. And the qualifying is very small steps because I'm looking to see if they're willing to jump a hurdle with me together. Okay. I'm not looking to know everything about them. I'm not necessarily their doctor. And it can be something so simple. And I say, well, that's great. What is your property address? Now, this didn't happen this time, but I've had sellers tell me they're not ready to tell me my property address. They want me to give them all information without the property address. And my answer is, good luck to you. I wish you the best of luck. Have a good day. And I hang up. When I was younger in the business like you, I thought I could change everybody. I could turn everybody. A person, a seller, a buyer shows you right from the get-go what their true nature is. And if they don't want to trust me by answering a very simple question like, what is your property address? They're never going to trust me in the relationship. I'm buying a problem. Okay? They have the right to their secrecy, but they just were calling me to use me. And use me without paying me for my time is unacceptable. So I do qualify, and they give it. And then I look up on, I'll look up on public records, and I find out that the name that they gave me is not the name on public records. Well, they got to explain something to me. Is public records wrong? Who owns it? And you find out, well, it's owned by my Aunt Sue. Well, where's your Aunt Sue? Well, my Aunt Sue is down in the shore right now. She asked me to make a call. Well, why am I speaking with her? I need to speak to Aunt Sue. So yes, I do qualify. It's nothing new. I'm sure Bold is going into it for one simple reason, that you're going to starve with just buyers. Like everything else, you need sellers. So in getting sellers, don't think that it's only buyers who waste your time. Sellers could waste your time left and right and qualify. But I have a one-page sheet, Lovis, that I use to qualify sellers. I don't go through some will say to you, find out what their mortgage is and how much they owe. And that's important, don't get me wrong. But I need to know who you are, where you live, why are you selling, how quickly do you want to get out, and what do you think the value of the property is? Now, if their value of the property is equal to my interpretation of the market, I now need to extend and get over there and talk to them because I want that listing. If their aspect, their attitude of their value of their house is so much higher than the market. I need to understand why they think I'm wrong. And based on that conversation, will determine if I'll ever actually meet these people. That's what I consider qualifying. Did I answer that question, or was I too long?
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So you never go over to the house?
Not
Physically.
anymore, no. And of course, I got this attitude before the virus, right? Okay, but obviously with this, it's almost impossible to go to a house. My easiest house is I get clients call, Bob, could you stop by? Okay,
Right.
I always go to a client's house. Okay, that's the last house that I went to right up front was a client called and says, I think I got to sell my house. Can you come over and tell me what I have to do? Right, that house I went to. But others, no, not until we come to an understanding on the telephone. Now, what I haven't done, so as an example, while Frank called me, this is kind of new to me, okay? I'm not even sure I'm comfortable, all right? Here I'm talking, right? In the old days when I'm with Lopez, I got to talk to the crew, but I didn't need to look at myself. Now on Zoom, every time I talk to you all, I keep on seeing my face over here. This is not a comfortable thing for me, okay? But I'm getting used to it only because it appears that my future appointments, even without the virus, are going to have to be virtual. They're going to have to be Zoom. I'm going to have to make more calls using Zoom, even without the virus. And I'm going to qualify face to face, because then at least I could look at that person's eyes to see if they're shooting up to the right when I'm talking because they're telling me you're lying. And then I don't have to waste my time going to the house.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Laurie and Bob. We really appreciate all that insight. I can't tell you how much value that must be for agents. And we're really appreciative of your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Stop recording.